Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It is about a little bit after 9. Today we want to recognize happened to be a relative of mine, Auntie June. Auntie June, could you please come up here? Because we want to, when I talk about you, at least I know you're near me. You know, ladies and gentlemen, we have, I'm going to say a young lady here who have 29 years of service with the Department of Education. But more specifically she started with J.P. Torres and then moved to DOA. And I have to admit that being a Taitano, you know, when I told her we're going to recognize her, she said, no. I said, you know, stop being a Taitano and just come down, fam. And then he started laughing and said, okay, I'll be there. And, you know, I have to admit, the Taitano clan is very tough skin. I got on Carlos here, and I got the younger sister that, unfortunately, her battery went out on her for a camera, but she's still got the high technology, so she's good for you, Auntie June. But, you know, I have 3 of my colleagues here. I have the Vice Speaker, Senator Therese Terlai, and then the Committee on the Rules, the Secretary, Senator Regina Lee Besco-Lee, and we have Senator Will Castro. And I would ask them to make a few comments before we read off the resolution.
Well, I just want to, of course, say congratulations and thank you for your service. I have the utmost respect for all of the teachers and educators working in our education department. They are our direct link to the future of our children, and we place utmost trust in you, and I just want to thank you again. Thanks to all of you, and especially thanks to our retiree this morning. Thank you very much.
I'm really glad to see everybody here to join us in celebrating the life and the work of Miss June Taitano. She really has been the heart and soul of what we've done at DYA, and the director is here today, and a number of her colleagues and folks from DOE. And I just think it's so important that we have people who are willing to dedicate their life in service, not just to our island, but really to the future. And I think the Vice Speaker mentioned that, and Senator San Agustin mentioned that. And it's very important that we're always looking forward, and we're always trying to do what's best for our kids and plant that seed now so we can really flourish in the future. So I really want to thank you so much, Miss June, and for all of your dedication. I know we had a really big cake at the ceremony earlier in the month, but I again just want to acknowledge you and thank you and your family so much for your hard work and for your dedication to our island and our children. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I didn't want to miss this morning because I've actually known Ms. Taitano in a different capacity, and I think it's important that we acknowledge her tireless advocacy for the Chamorro people. If you've known her in the time of the late Senator Angel Santos in 1998 through 2000, I first came to know her again as an advocate for the Chamorro people, and in her accomplishments later on as an educator. And so, Mr. Chairman, thank you for the privilege, and thank you for your service. Thank you very much.
And ladies and gentlemen, before I proceed to the resolution, I'd like to ask the superintendent and the director of DOA to make comments because she's served them for 29 years. Mr. Superintendent and Mr. Ada?
Hafid everybody and good morning. I knew this was going to happen. I was invited by the senator and to come and be a part of this, but I was very honored to get an email by June to say, sir, could you please attend? Because obviously, you know, she's put in over 2 decades of work and service to the department. I've only been here in a blink of an eye. And so when I look at the work she's done, I mean, everything, it makes me feel very humbled to be here, to be able to say a few words about the work that she's put in to the department. The June Taitano is when you say legend, you want to say legend is, sounds bigger than it is. I don't want to make it, to water it down, but just to say that when you hear June Taitano's name in the department, She's very, very strongly associated with dealing with a part of our educational system that either is ignored or looked down upon as some extra part of the department, outside of the department, on the fringes of the department, because she works in a school that is funded by, in a program that's funded by the Department of Education, supported by our consolidated grant funding, but she works within the confines of the Department of Youth Affairs. And so when you think about that, you realize that when we talk about every student, every child mattering, being important to the department, you can't just look at your mainstream classrooms and say, these are who we're talking about. We are also talking about the students who have been incarcerated, who we still are obliged to provide an education to. And we always have to figure out, what does that mean to educate these kids when they are taken from their families, when they've gone down the wrong path, when they are paying back and hopefully being rehabilitated outside of their homes in the confines of DYA. And it's hard to imagine that you've been there and seen the students. And then to recognize that these students don't stay there the same way students who go through 3rd grade, 4th grade, and 5th grade. You see the rotation of students, they come in and out, and they deal with a lot of challenges, some successes. I'm sure she can name the successes of those who were able to go back to school and finish and go on beyond high school. And then there are those, even though we try and we put all the efforts into saving them, who may not have such a positive outcome, and we even have some very recently. So to do all of that for as long as she has, and when she says JP Torres, we mean that JP Torres right now is the umbrella school for the students, but that she functions over at DYA as under that umbrella. But when you notice she's been at DYA all of her career, am I right? So before that, but for the majority of your career, she's associated with the program at DYA. To know that that's the work that she's been doing for so long is really a testament to dedication, commitment, sacrifice for the students that we many times don't think about. And so I want to thank her, because I think she embodies that whole principle of ours, that we have to watch out and look out for all of our students, try to deal with all those challenges that they have, and then try as hard as we can, even though the odds are against them, to see if we can push them on to making something productive out of their lives for us and for our community. So that's why I'm here, because that's what she's about. That's what Liang Famaguan is about at DYA, and trying to figure out how we're going to move on in her absence is going to be a challenge that we're all going to work together to work with her team to carry on, and then carry on that mission even further than that. So that's why I'm here. Congratulations on that, and thank you from the bottom of our hearts at the Department of Education.
When I was informed that I was going to go to DYA, someone came up to me and said, "Hey, I want to tell you something." I said, "What?" "You know, whatever June Taitanu wants, June Taitanu gets." I said, "Are you for real?" Ladies and gentlemen, I can prove it is true. If there's anybody who's going to be really at lost at DYA, it's me. And the social workers. Because this lady is everything. She's a director, she's a social worker, she's a nurse, she's a teacher. And in fact, by the way, the reason why you don't see any of the teachers here is because they're up there right now teaching. They're teaching. So June, I don't know how to say other than thank you so much for the many years you've dedicated with these children, and to the co-workers that you've worked so well. I've never heard one complaint about June. Not one. So she must have, I don't know how she did. She's with this, and last night we were also told they can't, and I think it's in the blood, because June and I are related. It's in the blood. We can't keep still. We're always moving. And my social workers there would vouch for that. But anyway, June, starting the last week of September, says, Mr. Etta, we've got 4 Christmas trees already coming donated. Really? June, wait until November. He says, no, we already took care of it. The latest event that she did was she came up to me and she said, Mr. Etta, for the cottage home, we already have a lady who is donating 12 sets of bed sheets, brand new fittings. Oh, 24. After that, 24. So what am I going to do, man? I hope she will volunteer back up to DOC. So to all of you, I want to thank you. This is one of the biggest resolution presentation I've heard so many people here. And June, that's because you're well loved. Thank you so much. By the way, she's heading out on the plane tomorrow to go visit her children and coming back on the 31st of January to volunteer helping the veterans. Don't forget, deal. And the what? A surrogate? Are you volunteering to become a surrogate? No, I won't talk about that. Thank you very much, and let's go on with the resolution.
Thank you, Mr. Etta and Mr. Fernandez. And you know, folks, you know, I forgot to mention, it's not even seen on the resolution that June is also a veteran. And I know she's a veteran because I saw her at the National Guard, and I'm looking at her, and I'm a senior enlisted, and I looked at her and says, Auntie June, what are you doing here? She says, then I noticed she's in uniform, like, oh, ay, look, another Taitano in the system. But you know what? I have to admit one thing that, you know, that both June and, Pete, Mr. Etta, and John Fernandez brought up is that she's a tough lady. I know she's a tough lady because she's come from a very tough family. I got my Uncle Carlos back here. He's a former police officer, just like myself. But you know, ladies and gentlemen, I remind Ms. Auntie June is that you can still come back to the Department of Education. You know that law does allow you to be rehired as a teacher. But I did remind the superintendent that she also has 2 degrees. She's got a bachelor's in public administration and a bachelor's in teaching. So there's nothing wrong with hiring her as a teacher, helping manage the teaching program in support of DYA. Okay, there is a way to do this, and she is an asset. She served 29 years, and she's still got a lot more years, even though she's going to be a surrogated mother or a parent. So I know she's got time, and time's always on her side. And without further delay, resolution number 322-34, introduced by myself, but supported by all the senators in the Guam Legislature, relative to commending and congratulating Mrs. June Elizabeth Taitano on the occasion of her retirement and for devoting 29 years of service to the Guam Department of Education and the Department of Youth Affairs, and to further express a warm and sincere Undonklu Nasizus Masi to her for her exceptional years of service to the youth of Guam. Auntie June. I have Auntie June speak because I know she don't like to speak. That's just Auntie June.
I can talk a mile a minute, but maybe not today. But I do want to thank everybody for being here. It's been, I've always worked for the underdog. I worked at the Veterans Administration for many years, and so, and I've always looked at the positive side. So all the jobs I've had, even working at Snow White was fun. So it was never hard getting up in the morning. Well, sometimes when I was younger, but it's been a wonderful journey, very rewarding, that's for sure. And I've loved every moment with it, but it's not over yet. So I will continue providing whatever service I can, and I just want to thank, you know, actually, DOE pays my salary. And I really appreciate it. They've supported me, but DYA is my family. And sorry, but they have been very supportive, and it's true what Mr. Ada said. Actually, I can tell you who started that. It was, I thought it was the first director I worked for, Mr. God, what's his name, Holly guy. Fortier. He was so supportive. Everybody, of course, how can I go wrong? Everybody supports education. And he always managed to include me in everything, and management teams, case review, and then Rory Respicio came through, and actually it was Rory that used to say, whatever June wanted, June gets. And all the other ones had no choice but to follow suit. But Mr. Ada here, even though we're related, when he first started, I'm sure, I felt like I was the deputy. Because he would come to me for everything, but I never turned him down, and I'm glad I didn't, because he's really been, he's been a godsend to DOE. He really has. But I do, and DOE has been good to me. And Mr. Sanchez, thank you for all the support you've given me throughout the years, the computer cards, the books, the textbooks, and I love our superintendent. I can honestly say he's the best we've ever had. And but thank you, the social workers, you guys, Ms. Suggan, she's just new, but she came from DOE. The social workers and I, we've worked, together and always in unison, and always they're always there for me too. So thank you, everybody, and to my family. And now can I cry? Really? Thank you.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for being here today. But I'd like to get a photo op, if we can get Mr. Ada and the Taitano family that are here. And Senator Will Flores. Come on up, former Senator. Come on, Senator. You're still a Senator until you're gone. Uncle Carlos. Can somebody grab, let's see, Ms. Her phone, there you go. And Brett.
Mary, thank you for being here.
And Ms. Gutierrez, Madam Chair, please come up here. The chair of it, the board, come up here, because you're John's boss. Come on up.